Uh,
Maybe
it's hard
let's try
to
the display
say who
capture. I
can
don't
and
know.
can't vote. You know, voting blank is better. Well, you can vote whatever you want. That's how Brexit happened. Okay, then that's fine.
um,
Like that's what do people vote for? No, I do not think that it is a good idea to bully a bunch of people into voting for things they don't understand. It's very weird how distorted people's viewpoints are with this. No, it's not. 18's legal age to vote. Whether you're considered adult legally, what the fuck is wrong with chat? Yeah, that's what it is now. Yeah, sure. Even if you don't vote, you can't complain about the law. The winner of the election later made. No, of course you can. I mean, I don't see what. It's just, bro. People are just. Why are people so dumb? Why are people so what the fuck happened? What happened, bro? What happened? What is this? Oh my god.
I totally
What the fuck?
understand
Wrong about
that.
Asmund. Imagine 10 people have to vote. If 5 of them don't vote, the other 5 double their power in voting and decide for you. It's the wrong mindset to have there. I'd rather allow somebody else to vote for me because I think that they know more about it than I do. I wish that we had the social trust that I could expect for the people that vote on something to be educated in that topic that they are voting on it. That's so dumb. No, it's not. You do it every day. Every single product that you consume, you are giving somebody else the ability to vote on what that is. Like driving, you go to a doctor, the doctor tells you what to think because they understand it better. We do this everywhere. Jesus. As also America has systematic issues, keep people uneducated, therefore easier to manipulate. I don't know about that. I think there's a lot of issues all over the world for people being uneducated. I don't think it's America's problem specifically, you know? Yeah. The idea that people you disagree with winning is a flaw in the system, a flaw in your logic, compulsory voting is bad. Yeah, I don't want to have people vote for things they don't understand. I think you should not vote on something if you don't understand it. And I don't think you have any obligation to understand it either. You can't expect everybody to care about certain things, and to the extent that you do, you're just being an asshole. That's it.
If it crashes again at this mission, it's probably the mission is bugged. I don't know.
A walking advertisement.
I've noticed a trend in writing. It seems to be getting more
I mean,
common
I
over
had this in
time.
Elden Ring
It's a
with
certain type
one
of
enemy.
writing that I'm
Every
trying
time I
to
killed him,
describe. The best
the game crashed.
to call it is millennial writing. You'll find out.
Where's that picture?
Okay, imagine this. You know
Take out
those
the PCA forces and head for the energy refinery plant.
Code 1-5. Contact with AC of unknown affiliation.
writing? You'll find out.
Corporate hire.
Okay,
Single
imagine
AC.
this. You know those tweets
Terminate
that are like
immediately.
capitalism low-key killed our vibe, gas rid of okay, without bosses and landlords taking on excess value, and then it has like 250,000 likes. I'm more so just referring to Twitter style
Code 5,
speaking,
unaffiliated
the tone
AC.
and affectation.
Moving to terminate.
Now,
Oh yeah, oh bro, like 100%. No, I know what he's talking about. There's like a certain type of vocabulary and way of talking, and like even I have a certain way of talking, where it's like the aloofness of the vocabulary lends itself into being more cool because people are less invested into it, so it's seen as they don't care as much, which sounds more cool.
The target.
Sure.
have you noticed the style of writing in modern games? I'll go through some examples and shed further light.
Okay.
Remember the cringe Saints Row reboot and new Tales from the Borderlands? There is undeniably a certain style here. By the way, I'm using footage with credit from YouTube for these, all within fair use. because I'm sorry, but why on earth would I want to play these games? Why would you expect or even want anybody to play these games? Say what you will about Telltale movie games, Tales from the Borderlands was a very well written game, with well wrought and interesting characters. It'd be reasonable to be excited for the follow-up to that on the basis of your enjoyment of the previous one. What you may forget is that this game isn't made by Telltale, it's Gearbox, who made Borderlands 3. Borderlands 3 is an excellent example of this style as well. In fact, the gradual collapsing quality of Borderlands writing maps onto this trend really well. Borderlands 3 had excessive pop culture references, like a mission where you need to get the big suck. I can just imagine the millennial...
Yeah, I think that's kind of cringe as well. Like some references to popular culture or things that are very like you wouldn't like it. If you know type situations, I think some of those can be cool, but the majority of them just scream at me like, you know, how do you do, fellow kids? And it's like these like weird, like 34-year-old people that are writing this stuff, and they're not cool. They've never been cool, but they're writing characters that are supposed to be cool, and this is what they think cool people do. That's what I think.
Writers sitting back in their room chuckling at that. A wry grin on their face with a new level of comedy they just unlocked. The main villain...
The reason why I said 34 is because if you're 34, you're over 10 years out of college, probably 15 years out of high school. You're not a kid anymore. You're not even a young adult, you're a fucking adult, and you better pretty soon think about buying your own health insurance, scheduling your own doctor's appointments, buying additional insurance for your car, calling Geico and increasing your coverage. You know, different things like that. Talking about homeowners insurance, things like all of the really boring stuff. But at the same time, you don't have the, you know, body of knowledge that a person who's like 55 would have. You know, you don't have like 30 years in a career yet. You don't have, you know, that much more education of just being alive and seeing things change. No. So you're in between, so you're not cool to young people, and you're not old enough to be cool in a more timeless way that's more interesting. So you're just in like this middle ground where you're obnoxious, annoying, and nobody can relate to you. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's like adult puberty. Yeah, exactly.
Villains being streamers. It doesn't even say anything. It just has them as streamer cult leaders. Like, ooh, streamers are cult leaders. How so? At least have some sort of evidence of that or present a critique. None of the characters are really built up, and there are no rewarding arcs. It's like the writers are entitled. They just expect that we care about these characters. The moments...
Well, it's because they're bad writers, and they use pop culture references and other memes like that to mask their bad writing. Because they know that they can get a cheap laugh or something like that. And because they're stupid and bad at writing, they're not able to actually get a... They're not able to create something that's funny without it being some contrived form of patronizing, like fucking like pandering shit. That's why. It's, I mean, so many shows and games fall into this category. It's so annoying.
In the game don't carry any weight or impact. Maya's death was so obviously avoidable and contrived. An obnoxious character like Tiny Tina was acceptable in 2012, when we didn't know any better, but they just kept riffing on the same annoying aspects of these characters without moving on. They just can't let go of these lol so random characters. Why do
That's because those are the same people that went to middle school with Invader Zim backpacks and they never grew out of it. That's why. And it's because they don't... Oh, I guarantee you a lot of these people... How many books do you think a lot of these people that are writers had actually read?
Mission accomplished.
I would say probably half of the Harry Potter books, the first 100 pages of the first Game of Thrones book, and maybe their mom made them read the Bible.
Touch the coral current. Your armor can't.
So that's about it.
What's going on?
So guess what? They don't have a lot of context on how to actually write something that's
Get out
interesting.
now, 61.
Do I care if Atlas
Oh,
wins?
Twilight. Yeah, you're right.
Apparently Maliwan is an evil corporate asshole. But so are the guys we're fighting for. And the game just presents it as good and evil. They naturally cap it off with a girl power ending, despite how poorly they resolve the conflict between Ava and Lilith, you know, the protagonists of the story, and the brain-dead reveal of tennis
behind. I have 390 boost speed.
And whenever they talk, they're always super verbose. They just keep talking and talking.
Well, it's stuff like this, right? Like, this is a really great example.
And whenever they talk, they're always...
It's like Sirentology. It's obviously like there's...
Must you always put your life on the line?
It's like the implication here, the subtext is Scientologist, right? You know it, I know it, we all know it. It's just... It's so lame, bro. I don't think I can say it any other way besides that. It's just so fucking lame. These people are... They're not cool, but they're trying to write characters that are cool. And that's what who's this joke for?
Oh, that's a good one.
No one.
super verbose. They just keep talking and talking for far longer than is necessary. And if you have no clue what I'm talking about, don't worry. It's nonsense anyway. I think there's this famous post that pretty excellently sums up
Maybe
writing. They can't go
that's
one
the
line without stuffing it full
Maybe
of
he's the
ironic
chosen one for
observations
this.
as their form of jokes. The normal line would be like, if you can get some fuel canisters, then I can reactivate the main generator and get our shields back up. I mark the objective on your map. Versus the Gearbox line. Hey, buddy. Great job killing those mutants.
I don't know.
You're really good at that. Shooting things, that is. One problemo, though. As it turns out, a bunch of monsters on this planet are going to terrorize that if we don't get the shield back.
I don't think this one will win S rank.
My opinion,
but
that's going to suck.
He looks
Not
cool.
having eyes sounds terrible. Like, how am I supposed to read my collection
don't have to
of
walk much in
bodacious
this
space
mission.
babes without any flippin' eyeballs? So,
Am I right about 34-year-olds that were never cool? Am I like 100% man?
Wish I could
Yep.
here's my brilliant
this thing.
Right
I've got
here.
written on this here napkin. I won't go on. You
Ugh.
can pause and read the rest of it, but you get the
I
idea.
don't think I'm going to.
Now, imagine everything about Borderlands 3 writing, but worse. That is Tales from the Borderlands. The worst thing about Gearbox is that they just...
Oh, another thing that a lot of these different shows like to do, or games like to do, is they like to write characters that are clearly allegorical or fucking... What's the
can
word
change
for
this,
it?
I can change-
Caricaturizations
It's not the
of
same.
real-life ideas or real-life values. Oh my god. It is awful.
don't get the memo. Are they addicted to sniffing their own farts or something? Why aren't they trying to improve their writing after literally everybody criticizes it?
New Agorex, who this?
They assassinate the character of Reese. In fact, he's basically a different
No, I
character entirely
can't.
to the one from Tales. Now he's the corporate arsehole, basically taking on the exact same role as his enemy in Tales. In Borderlands 3,
Yeah, of course, this is what happens because, again, like this style of writing, it's like a mining canary. It's not that it's bad in itself, but whenever you see this, it means that there's even more bullshit to come. Even more. As soon as you go a little bit deeper and you actually look into it, if you see this kind of writing on the surface, you know that whenever you look under the hood, you're going to get a whole lot of garbage.
there was some gag about how his favorite frozen yogurt place got destroyed.
Well, that's it. Say goodbye to your favorite Frogurt stand.
Bro, like again,
Robert.
34-year-olds that were never cool. Oh my god.
It's exceptionally rare to get a direct
France,
request for
Frogurts,
liberation from
anything
Russia.
but France, Frogurts. I mean, they give you that
Can't you just hear them like watching this while they're surrounded by Funko Pops, soy facing out, listening to their own
I wish
fucking
these
words
legs had
play
more
on the
load limit,
TV whenever
actually.
they're playing their own video game?
They
Holy
look way
shit,
better
man.
than the ugly trousers.
These people are like my age. There's no excuse for this shit. It's embarrassing.
Two camps.
Yeah, laughing and shitting themselves. Exactly.
Oh, I can just imagine some 30-something with an English degree.
He knows. He fucking knows. See, there you go.
And it just
Everybody
die.
fucking knows what this is. There you go.
Paid for by their parents whose greatest trauma, besides getting trolled on Twitter, is their favorite food place, which they would visit in between sessions of making PowerPoints in their Mac, shutting down.
Yeah.
And they brought that trauma into the game. Now, apparently they thought this frozen yogurt gag was so funny that they had to revive it for the next game as the basis for one of the characters, as if it was some beloved gag. So this Frogurt place is on Promethea, a fictional planet that looks remarkably like San Francisco. And of course it's very diverse, or rather it reflects the demographics of San Francisco. If the point of representation...
So there's a lot of homeless people that are on fentanyl.
Cutting edge technology.
Okay.
is to introduce new and different viewpoints, then this is achieving the
great.
exact opposite of that. It feels like these stories only represent the experiences of young, wealthy, inner-city tech people from
I took
coastal
unnecessary
cities of
damage
America
by not
and
hard locking
extremely
and
small
hitting the wrong enemies.
Twitter addicts.
Hey, Papa Girardi! I can smell your space
Yeah, I just
from
stay
here!
back here. I don't have to fight all once.
Might also need to stop doing that problematic accent.
Take it out.
Yeah, I know.
A lot of the references
Oh,
in the
Lord.
show just feel out of touch.
Focus fire on
The reason why they feel out of touch is because they are out of touch. It's not a secret. It's not like, oh wow, how can we unravel this, you know, infinite corridor of complexity?
Code 31A.
No,
Chief Sergeant down.
it's out of touch. Sounds out of touch because it is. Yeah, 100%. This game is fun on mute for real. Yeah, there's a lot of things like that.
Miss Johnson, did you get a cybernetic leg? That thing's straight fire.
That's not an S tier. Maybe it is,
Like
I
they're
don't know.
trying to be
But
younger than they actually are.
Just think heavy mechs are
bro.
way
Exactly.
stronger than
That
light
is.
one.
Oh God, they need to stop doing this.
You may yet fly higher.
Oh,
Beyond
they need to stop. Yeah, somebody needs to put these people in jail.
the freedom we never knew.
I feel like take all the people that smoke weed out of jail, put these people in jail. Problem solved.
A lot of the language feels like 5 years out of date, and there's a certain
Bro, I'm gonna be honest, if it was 10 years ago, it'd be 5 years out of date. This shit's always perpetually 5 years out of date. It's
That's
never
an
in
insult.
season.
character design. The shaved on one side and long hair swept
Fucking
on the
insult.
other. The brightly colored
You're
hair.
so cool.
It's extremely common. There are also adult characters who speak like children, or just generally speak in a really condescending or patronizing tone.
While I examine this unimaginably complex and priceless alien artifact, you may wait outside and steal anything not nailed down.
There was the new Saints Row reboot as well.
fuck.
We knew it was going to be terrible before launch, and we weren't surprised at all. They made the main characters into a bunch of broke college kids, and they're all dealing with student debt and rent and complaining about
Yeah, nobody wants to fucking be a broke college kid
Transmission.
complaining about student
Destroy the
debt and
planetary
rent.
closure administration
And if there
assets.
is a game that's like that, you need to have, like, you know what they should do? They should have a game like this. And you're actually a broke college kid, and there's like a few different like ways
the
that you
ones
can
that are
play
working with this
games.
gun.
You can live at your parents' house and just
We're
eat
under
food
attack.
all day, and your character will gradually
Get the
gain
HC
weight
online
until it
now.
dies, like one of those Tamagotchi
Did
pets.
the corporation
Or
hire
you could get into a
must be
life
confident
of
to
petty
come here alone.
crime where you're, you know, like
You need
waiting
more
for
than a
people to
match
go
for
into
some
the gas
patchwork
station and then stealing their phone out of their car, and then getting arrested because it had a GPS tracker and you didn't put it in like a Faraday box whenever you got it home. And so, like, all these things, and like, let's see, what's the third one? Oh yeah, third one is working at Starbucks and just going through dialogue options with random NPCs that don't like you. Like, they should make a game like that. But I don't think anybody would buy it because people are already playing that game. It's called their life. Nobody wants to do this. You're not cool. And the thing is, and this is again, right? These people probably that are writing this haven't been in college for 10 years. But they think they know what it's like. They think they get the struggle. Oh yeah, I get it. Like one time my parents didn't completely pay my tuition and I had to take an internship that my uncle gave me at a school, at the school. That way I could pay for my fucking smartphone. In 2010.
Main system activating combat.
Out of touch Thursday. It's so out of touch. It's so cringe. Normies love this shit though? No, they don't. I actually don't think they do. I don't think this is as fucking funny for normies as you might imagine.
The targets are stationed in 2 camps.
They try to borrow some internet lingo like wage slave. They're super verbose. They do not stop haranguing the player with dialogue, and they use expletives like they're meant to be edgy, or they're just funny on their own.
Goddamn fucking shitballs on a stick. Side order, a mother-loving shit.
We're under attack.
Piss covered.
Well, I'm not camping.
Cancel the maintenance.
It's like they get a kick out of swearing for no reason. Also, it's super funny that characters are
Can I please move?
Your car
I'm stuck. I'm somehow stuck. Okay.
so relatable.
Nobody wants to play a fucking video game that is some person's platform to put out their own worldview.
What the fuck?
Nobody wants to do that
How
shit.
was I stuck?
They don't want to hear about global warming. And you know what else? They do want to hear about global warming. Just not from you. Because you're a
Grateful
loser.
for your assistance, Raven.
You're a writer.
The targets are stationed in
And
2
not a good
camps. Attack 1.
You're not a
and the other
scientist.
to reinforce.
You don't understand
I'll leave the
why the
question of
Earth is
strength
getting
first
hot
and your
or
capable
cold.
hands.
You don't really get it. You just listen to what the scientists tell you. Well, then just keep it out of the game.
We're under attack.
Ugh.
Cancel the maintenance.
Debatable, am I
Get the
right,
HC
fellow
online
millennials?
now.
People talk about that on Twitter, right? They
Yeah.
really do
Corporations
talk about
hire you.
capitalism a lot.
must be
They don't
confident
really
to come
say
here alone.
much about it, though. They just
No
say
matter.
the word, and we're
It's more
supposed to
than a
think,
match for
I
some
don't even know,
patchwork
like,
AC.
wow, you're really culturally aware.
told you before, the idols are trying to build a post-capitalist society.
Max cutting-edge technology.
The original series started as a GTA clone, but
I don't think that's problematic on its own. I think that could be interesting. It's not the idea of using these concepts.
Okay.
It's the idea of misusing them and then using memes instead of the actual concepts.
Okay.
progressively more wacky and outlandish. The humor was extremely crass. It recognized the absurdity and cranked it up as high as possible. It was self-aware before self-aware humor became really tired. They certainly did make pop culture references, but like Borderlands, this style of humor was more apt in 2012. It feels like they haven't really grown since then. They've had to tone down a lot of the most vulgar elements of the humor from previous games, which just doesn't work because the vulgarity was the core of the humor in them. And
Well,
again,
it's also like you can't have vulgar humor whenever you know that an entire subset of that vulgar humor will never be portrayed. Like, they're never going to have something that's like super politically incorrect in one of these games, right? That's never going to happen. So you can't really explore of a like idea of, oh, look how edgy we are, whenever you know that they're never going to go anywhere near the actual edge that they feel like is edgy. You see what I'm saying? It's lukewarm humor that's parading around as if it's groundbreaking.
again we see the same character design. The Skrillex cut, the dyed hair. You see it in so many games, it's like they're reading from the same guidebook. Now, something that feels similar, but is harder to place my finger on, is the new Wolfenstein games. The New Order was alright. Wolfenstein 2 started to introduce some weirdness, like throwing their fetishes into the game, but Youngblood is where the failure of the writing becomes really apparent. It's centered around these quirky things who get up to silly antics in between bouts of killing people. It's strange how frivolous it is with violence. Of course, that certainly isn't a new thing, but in this game, the main characters seem to delight in it. And that also isn't the weird part. It's that they delight in this violence, and there is nothing really wrong with it. They're not anti-heroes, they're just regular old protagonists.
Heroes are
And it's
so
just
busted.
silly and fun. It's strangely flippant. I mean, the New Order wasn't like that. It did have over-the-top violence, but BJ Blazkowicz was motivated by a righteous fury and rage. He never really reveled in killing or celebrated it. There's also the loud equals funny yelling.
Yeah, I think that happens a lot. And it's, again, we love violence, so it's so relatable. Well, the problem is that these people are unable to write compelling characters, so they take shortcuts in making the characters very relatable to what they believe the target audience for the game is. So, like, they make the character like, oh, this could be me. Oh, this is, oh, yeah, they're going through what I'm going through. That's what it is.
The new Wolfenstein writing just feels like the writers had some issues of their own to work on.
I don't think these do even more damage than the charged shotguns, but
it feels like they.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about before. How like
these weapons are really bad. Really bad compared to others.
Nobody wants you to use the video game as your platform to push your social commentary that nobody cares about. Nobody wants to see this. And also, with a lot of these games, it's totally okay if you do this, but I think what the real problem is, and if you look at Borderlands and Wolfenstein, is that these are pre-existing IPs. These are pre-existing game franchises. So you have you have a tone that is set by the previous games, and these people change the tone because they're incapable of fulfilling it, or in some cases unwilling to. Does that make sense? Keep your politics out of my games. Yes, stop talking about, stop using your video game, stop using this to shoehorn in your take on a social issue.
I'm grateful for your assistance.
Isn't it a bad thing? Only whenever it's done in a show not tell kind of way? Of course it's not always bad. But I think taking an existing IP and then co-opting it to push your social opinions is bad. If you want to make a game and it's all about this kind of stuff, nobody's going to complain about it. You want to know an example of that? Metal Gear Solid.
They wanted to make a political statement that they just weren't equipped to make. High on luck.
I think Metal Gear Solid is like such a great example. This is a game, Metal Gear Solid, I guarantee you, is tackling way harder questions than why are balls considered badass? Like, what the fuck are you, like, what are you 12 years old? This is so cringe and boring, like, what the fuck? It's like when people are making videos about the dialogue of Metal Gear Solid 20 years after it came out. So don't give me this shit like, oh, well, social messaging, political messaging is always bad in games. No, it's not. But if it's bad, and it's shoehorned in, and it's not written in a good way, then yeah, it is.
Life is another super obvious example. It has all of the same hallmarks: overly verbose characters, unnecessary swearing as if it was funny on its own. I mean, I like Michael Cusack. Damo and Darren at the train station is one of the most quoted videos here in Australia. But man, the knifey character didn't work. They had a cameo from Psychic Pebbles as well, who is usually absolutely hilarious. But in this game, I don't think the bit really worked. I noticed there's a certain vocabulary as well. It wouldn't be unusual to hear words such as weird or shitty, and it is weird that the dude who, well, you know what he did, is calling anyone shitty.
Oh yeah.
To chase the freedom We never knew.
Yeah, that guy was an asshole, huh?
Kind of dialogue is really common. I feel like High on Life could have done with an editor. Somebody to cut like 90%
Okay.
of the dialogue, only leaving the best stuff in. As of right now, it seems like they're deleting.
That's one of the worst
I
things.
think I go with
think
Metal
that
Slave.
really, you can take something like, I think Lord of the Rings is a great example of this.
Oh no. Metal
That-
Slave it is.
You know, obviously, I'm a huge, massive, like, fucking huge
That's
fan of Lord of the
pride.
Rings, Tolkien, etc. But whenever I watch the extended editions of Lord of the Rings and I watch the theatrical edition, I can see why the theatrical version exists. And I think that it is more concise. The extra scenes don't really add a whole lot unless you're like a super fan of the content. And they made the right decision taking those scenes out. I'd say 9 out of 10. And so, like, what I'm saying is that even in something that is an absolute masterpiece,
Attack 1.
in my opinion, Lord of the Rings movies the best movies of all time. There are still things that you need to edit out.
We're
If
under
that
attack.
annoying equals funny.
Cancel the maintenance.
Similarly
Get the
to
HC
loud
online
equals
now.
funny. Destiny 2 seems to have taken on
Did the
some of this writing
corporations
as
hire
well.
you?
Anna Bray starting to
Must be
sound like a
confident to come
Borderlands
here alone.
character.
No matter. No.
None of that sounded like, Anna, please help me. I need you. You're killing me. Ow.
So quirky and sardonic. This type of delivery sounds condescending. It reminds me of the boss from Office Space.
Yeah. If you could just go ahead and make sure you do that from now on, that would be great.
I'll be honest, I do not see the appeal. And, you know, I can't really bring up millennial writing without at least mentioning indie Earthbound-inspired game that's secretly about depression and mental health.
What's
These
this
tend
again?
Indie Earthbound.
16-bit indie platformer games. It's actually an allegory for abuse and/or.
Okay, that's on the nice to know.
Yep.
I have to take no damage.
Inspired game that's secretly about depression and mental health. These tend not to have the exact same tropes.
Like, come on,
Think
this,
of it,
this
really
build is
unusual
just
to
so...
find similar stuff
It's so
It's
insane.
just that people in the comments are gonna bring this up if we're gonna talk about millennial
So not balanced.
So I think I'm starting to get a picture of it. The hallmarks of this style of writing that stick out to me from these and many more examples. The aforementioned vocabulary. Shitty, weird, gross, icky, yucky, yikes. My dude, my guy, yo, and of course, decent
Actually,
human being.
I don't care about Borderlands.
Bro, like, if you gave me that list.
Jaus ist die Einladung zum Erlebnis. Ein cremiger und frischer Genuss von dem Geheimnis.
They're called differently in Switzerland.
Problematic.
Oh,
But it
wait,
has,
yeah. Logos.
I'm playing that. That's what I'm. That's. He said the funny CS:GO words.
What? Fuck is happening?
The worst game I can't stop playing. 447 hours on record. Not recommended.
Let's just
Uh-oh.
do this other one.
Here we go.
Tower
It
of
always
Fantasy
crashes.
is a gambling simulator with a video
One more time.
game attached to it. In this
Yeah,
Activating combat mode.
kind of. Yeah, that's a good way to say it.
title, you play as the Wanderer. No, not that one, who finds themselves stranded in a world ravaged by the intense radioactive fallout caused by the mishandling of Obama. However, instead of the cool nuclear apocalypse where Elvis Presley gives us his cyborg dog, instead we get bootleg Borderlands characters and angry geometry. This online role-playing game is also quite possibly massively multiplayer. Not like I would know, because the last time there were more than 10 players in one spot, the servers died.
Really? Does this happen? I never had that happen. Oh my god.
So join me on a brief adventure as I tell you about the zany world of Tower of Fantasy and why you should never play this game.
Well, alright, that's a good way to start it. Jesus. The worst game I can't stop
Genshin
playing.
Impact is the game that opened the gates to gacha hell. Then Tower of Fantasy is the one that handed me my passport and congratulated me on my citizenship.
Oh yeah, like Genshin Impact was the, that was the game that really got gacha to be popular in the West, I think. Genshin Impact was like the Trojan horse. It came in there and people finally started playing. It was the gateway drug. Yes, it was the Trojan horse.
For those of you who don't know what a gacha game is, imagine a casino, except the only prizes are anime JPEGs.
Yeah, baby!
I'm not exaggerating when I say that this is...
Normal people. Gacha games are designed to psychologically manipulate people into spending as much money possible. Gacha games are bad and therefore should not be recommended. Gacha apologists. Well, it's not different from what I did. Nobody's wanting you to spend money and we're free to play, so it's fine.
It's approaching fast.
Oh my god.
The most predatory business model in the entire gaming industry, and therefore playing these games are my guilty pleasure and personal vice. I'm going to be honest with you. This game could be considered by many metrics not good. Elemental system is laughably simplistic. The character design is at times generic or forgettable.
Wait, did they make her boobs bigger? I think they did. Yeah, guys, I'm pretty sure they did. Like, I remember, yeah, she got buffed, yeah. I think, yeah.
The story is mediocre at best and pure nonsense at worst. The music is generally boilerplate. The boss fights are miserable, and yet for...
Do you guys remember this boss fight? So if anybody played this game, do you remember this boss fight about how he would go underground and then he would just come up at random times and instantly kill you?
They got their walking advertisement, all right.
Like, just such a piece of shit.
Miserable, and yet for some reason, I keep playing it. And I'm hoping that by the end of this video, I'll finally understand why. I will be getting into spoilers, but don't worry, you're not missing out because...
Spoilers, but it doesn't matter.
Tower of Fantasy innovates by being the first game to tell its most important lore and story details exclusively through loading screen tips. In fact, the story is so bad that developers let you skip all dialogue and cutscenes. You may notice that the opening cutscene for this game seems like a complete rip-off of Genshin. That's because it is. Here you select between...
Well, there's a lot of things that are a complete rip-off of Genshin with this game. And by the way, Imru and Tectone got sponsored. You know what? I think Mizkif got sponsored to play Tower of Fantasy. I'm so mad. I played this game for real. I didn't get sponsored. Seer got sponsored. Are you fucking kidding me? Seer? Soda got sponsored. This is fucking ridiculous. Everybody got sponsored except me. And I was the only person that actually played it. I played it for free. No, I didn't play it for free. I spent like $2,000 on the game.
I have to...
That's the worst part. I paid for them to play the game. I paid for their sponsorship.
Two of the worst character designs I've ever seen in a gacha game. But that's okay, because in about 5 minutes you'll get into the character creator and we'll be able to choose literally anything else. It wouldn't surprise...
The character creator was okay, but I was disappointed at the amount of hair options for male characters.
Surprise me in the slightest if the design is bad on purpose to get you to interact with the character creator. Since you're given total freedom to make whatever character you want, that means there are no wrong choices, right? Trick question. The correct answer is the small female character model. No matter what option you choose, your character will shrink down and use the same animations as the small female character model in cutscenes. Sorry bro, it's a canon event. So after you choose your gender, your character gets wrecked and someone shows up only to wipe your memory for literally no reason and then leave you
that's
dead.
Never happened before.
This is basically never followed up on.
There we go. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah.
Where Tower Fantasy lacks in story, its environments make up for it in immaculate vibes. Version 2.0 introduced Vera, a desert region under threat from extra-dimensional abominations only known as gray space entities. The desert itself, while nothing terribly special on its own, is a noticeable step up in quality from the starter region of Hesperia.
I think even the starter region looked nice. Like, the game looked fine. I mean, does it look as vibrant and good as Genshin? No. But I'd say it's a solid 8. Solid 8, maybe 8.59. It's pretty nice.
All units, external comms have been compromised.
However, where Tower Fantasy really starts to shine is when it turns into Cyberpunk 3077.
Oh yeah, that's the game that I said I was gonna play.
Wake up, Samurai.
Yeah.
We've got gacha to roll. You see, in Vera, 98% of the population live inside of the Rhombus. This Evangelion Ramio-looking dingus is an entire city crammed full of minigames and virtual attractions. It's even got a functioning nightclub. What is the dog doing? The first part of the city
See,
is
like, I think that's really cool. Like, this is awesome.
You should bash me.
somewhat Chinese, and the second half is very Chinese. It almost makes me wish a dystopian megacity in mainland China was real. At first, it struck me as a little odd that a city that is under constant attack was so jam-packed with entertainment venues and luxury apartments. But then it occurred to me that the entire city is basically one giant COVID lockdown bubble.
Is that true?
The next area is the Confounding
Am I dying?
Abyss, and it's where I
just
personally
fucking died.
felt that Tower Fantasy's environmental design
I
was
died.
starting to become decent. The harsh alien landscapes,
I mean,
I died.
you know, it is what it is, right?
serving as the
These
natural
guns are
habitat
bad.
of Eldritch horrors,
Holy
really sold me
shit.
on this game being more than just a generic anime MMO. It is also one of the few parts of the game that has a story that is, dare I say it, actually kind of good.
Wow.
It
That's why I
centers
have to
around
go.
one of the only characters in this game to have interesting writing,
Shut
Dr.
the fuck up,
Rubilia.
Dan
I
Shortfall.
love it. The verticality and disconnected terrain really leverage.
Yeah, like, I think this looks really cool, man. Straight up, like, I do. I really think this looks cool. Am I crazy? Does it? Yeah. I think this looks awesome.
This game's high mobility, which is something I'll touch on later. Next is a toxic swamp biome. This area was basically just filler added to serve as build-up for the next area.
Other dead.
Speaking of which, down through the tunnel we gain access to the Grand Sea, and with it, the
That's
ability
nice.
to dive and freely swim underwater.
Oh, so Genshin stole this from Tower of Fantasy. That's crazy. Wow, because didn't Genshin do something just like this?
The underwater city of Enos is absolutely
Jesus.
stunning.
Look
And
at
even
that.
if the swimming mechanics are clunky, the entire region is anything but forgettable. I'd also like to take the time to point out that this entire map is completely seamless between all three of its layers, and it was released on the global version of this game before.
I mean, this looks really nice, guys. I'm gonna be honest. It's really nice.
Genshin Impact even announced that Fontaine would have underwater exploration. The latest expansion to the game added Domain 9, an alternate dimension full of floating islands in an endless sky. Here, the traditional Chinese design elements are worn on its sleeve, and it is positively gorgeous.
Yeah, these
However,
weapons
I
are
can't
so
help be
much
underwhelmed
better.
by its gameplay, the reasons for which I can't explain unless we get into.
Okay.
Earlier I mentioned that Tower of Fantasy has a high level of player mobility. This cannot be overstated. In your base movement alone, you have the ability to scale walls a la Breath of the Wild, a double jump, and 3 dodges that are separate from your stamina. The game's tutorial gives you a jetpack, which is basically the paraglider, but you can use it to boost upward.
Yeah, I quit the game whenever this area came out. This one here.
Yeah, there's a
Actually, I think it was one
efficiency
area
spike.
after this.
I'm so
and then I
ugly.
quit.
Boost upward. Oh, and by the way, upgrading the jetpack one time removes its stamina consumption.
Yep.
So you can glide almost indefinitely. You can chain the jetpack with your dodges to cover huge horizontal distances as well. While you can swim, there's no need to, because the game also gives you a hoverboard that has no cooldown while you're on the water.
Yeah, this stuff is
can I-
really cool. Like, the exploration stuff is great. I liked it a lot.
After
Never
that,
knows
you get
when
a
hard
motorcycle.
locked or not.
And not too much longer after that, You can kill a world boss that gives you the resources to unlock a grappling hook. This isn't even mentioning the characters that have additional movement mechanics like Lan's Umbrella or Revilia's Wing Boost. All of this means that compared to Genshin Impact, you may as well be a pilot from Titanfall 2. This is both incredibly fun and also a double-edged sword. It's fun in that you can rush across the map at high velocity and combo the various mobility options to rapidly overcome virtually any obstacle. However, this has the side effect of making the exploration trivial and at times extremely boring. A large amount of it is just go to location and grab the thing. This isn't to...
No, that's not a large amount of it. That's the entire thing. Yeah, that's the entire... Like, you have to go there, and there's a box, and then you open the box, and you get the thing. Okay, you did that? Okay, guess what? Now there's another box.
Say that Genshin's exploration isn't also like this at times. However, in Genshin, you can tell the developers have designed the map using these rewards as breadcrumbs to guide you throughout the terrain and constantly recontextualize the various puzzles scattered throughout the map. However, in Tower of Fantasy, because you can zip around like a fly on Adderall, there is basically no difficulty to the vast majority of exploration puzzles, making them little more than a glorified checklist. A lot of the other puzzles just boil down.
There were some of these that were really annoying. Like, there were a couple of them that one of these took me like 10 minutes to do. And I had to I mean, this game's really buggy, right? So, yeah.
Down to use tool X on thing Y.
Code 31A, sustaining damage.
Yes.
The underwater exploration in Enars, while it does reuse a lot of the same exploration puzzles, at least has the novelty of the swimming mechanics to make up for it.
Oh, yeah.
The vast majority of Domain 9, however, is just gathering various orbs scattered throughout the map.
No.
That's it. Oh, shit. You gotta get all of those? I get to work.
And the remainder is either opening treasure chests or solving laughably simple puzzles.
Wow.
It's for this reason why I'm disappointed in Domain 9, because it doesn't really do anything radically different from the rest of the game, like how Enars was such a huge departure from anything else we've seen in the game. I'm going to be real with you though, the exploration is not the reason why I keep coming back to this game. For that, we need to examine...
Where's our patrol?
By far, Tower of Fantasy's strongest suit is its combat. The basic gameplay loop is simple, but immensely satisfying. You can equip...
let's see, is the combat in Tower of Fantasy good? I feel like it kind of is, but there are some badly designed bosses. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's pretty good. Feels like shit, really? Dude, I thought it was fine, man. Maybe I'm crazy or stupid or dumb, but yeah, I thought it was fine.
Up to 3 weapons, each of which have a skill that you can use in addition to its attack combos. Attacking with your weapon charges your offhand weapons, and once they finish charging, you fire off their ultimate by swapping to that weapon. This can range from a massive AoE attack to a team-wide healing pulse.
I want to also keep in mind here, this is the Bygone Phantasm. I was in the top 3 on my entire server for the highest clear for the Bygone Phantasm, which is like an endless loop, like you just do it over and over and over until you can't do it anymore. I was in the top 3 on the entire server, and I just remind you, I didn't get sponsored. Yeah, I didn't get sponsored. Isn't that crazy?
Can range from a massive AoE attack to a team-wide healing pulse. Alongside this, you can equip 2 different relics, which are pieces of equipment with their own abilities you can trigger in combat. These can range from calling in a mech suit to auxiliary guns, and even Zhongli's pillar from Genshin Impact. Except you fire it out of a gun, of course. The main ones you'll wind up using are the ones that just give your team a DPS buff. But at least there are a bunch of fun options to mess around with. Even though the combat often boils down to repeating the same optimized combo loop you figured out weeks ago, its fast-paced nature and constant weapon swapping still manages to get my dopamine receptors to fire off like the chimpanzee that I am.
I also think so if you do a perfect dodge, you stop time. in like the in like where
Blah,
you're
blah,
at.
blah.
I actually think that's really cool.
Even if it lacks the depth of Genshin's elemental
Yeah, the
system,
one-
or the tight team coordination of Final Fantasy XIV, if the combat wasn't fun, there's no way I would have stuck around for as long as I have.
Yeah, I think the combat
second
was good.
reason is if there is one thing Tower Fantasy has
Still don't
managed
know
to
which one is
consistently
best.
nail over the past 6 months, it's their quality of life updates, whether it's additional teleport waypoints to frequently visited locations, or an overhaul of the raid system to allow for easier matchmaking. I cannot.
Do you guys remember whenever I tried to make a party
0.5
for
seconds
something,
to recharge,
and
but
I literally couldn't get a single person to join my party? Like, it was actually the worst experience of my life. Like, the social system and like the chat in the game whenever I played was so bad, it was funny.
Overstate just how much of a difference these changes have made for the overall game experience. Quick Battle, my beloved.
Those
It maintains
recoveries replies
confidence that the
just
game
so
will
bad.
continue to improve,
Yeah.
even if it can be 2 steps forward, 1 step back at times. Compared
That's
to the
just our
highly
next
polished
mission with this
experience
operator.
Genshin provides, Tower Fantasy is really janky, but consider that unlike Genshin, 2F lets you play the game at a frame rate higher than 60, and also...
Wait, you have to play Genshin at 60 FPS?
The ECM fog is
What? Oh my god, why?
Hate
lets
this
you
mission.
pet the dog. There's undoubtedly still a lot of jank in this game, but for the most part, it's the kind that is endearing rather than frustrating or game-breaking. Whether it's wonky cutscene animations or hilarious physics glitches, you're sure to encounter
I have to
at
go
least
to the
a
toilet.
few bugs while playing this game.
Yeah,
Although they're
I've had that
patched
happen.
now, some of my favorites in the past year include the old grapple hook slingshot bug, and the time you could
Oh, we did that in Halo 2. Remember that? You do that with the energy sword and then canceling it? Holy fuck. Dude, I forgot all about that. That one was so fun. Yeah. And you would have people like kneel down. Yeah. Oh, fuck.
she's a world boss by yoinking her off of a cliff.
What?
Oh, there she goes.
Is not just the way that they've improved the quality of life over the
Okay.
previous versions of the game, but also over its competition, where Tower Fantasy really hits hard. I lightly touched on it earlier, but one of the flagship features of this game is its character customization. The character creator is so robust that players use it to do in-game cosplay, from facial
Yeah, but you can't really do that because there's like so. No, bro, because like there's a lot of like hairstyles. For example, okay, so let me see if I can pull this up. I'll give you guys an example because I this happened, and I was fucking pissed. Maybe I might not be able to find it. Well, anyway, there's the S3, yeah, that guy King. The hairstyle, yeah, customization is great for girls. Which makes sense, right? Because like most of the people that play this game, well, I wouldn't say they're girls, but they play as girls.
Yeah, of course.
markings,
Rifles.
accessories,
Yeah,
and
the male
even dyeing your
customization
clothing.
sucks.
There's an ever-expanding pool of cosmetics that can be used to make the perfect drip for your character. In addition, Tower Fantasy does an excellent job of separating gameplay and cosmetics. On that topic, things get a little more complicated because we first need to discuss
How the gotcha is different.
in this
Guys, it's not different.
You really know this the 900.
technically don't pull for the character.
As long as you're in the air, it doesn't matter how fast you
However, once you
recharge.
unlock their weapon, you unlock that character as a skin. This means
Yeah.
that you can have
So
the
you pull for the
gameplay of a
character.
character without having to take on their
Sure,
appearance.
0.3
This is
seconds
particularly
would be
appealing
worth
for
it.
people who want to use a character's
0.5
kit without
isn't,
having to
kinda.
become an anime twink. You can
That's exactly right.
Control device is offline.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
use any character's skin with any weapon. Or you could not use their skin at all and
That's
choose
right.
to continue playing your custom character. This freedom with your character's
Yeah, I
appearance
like that a
goes
lot.
a long way. Characters you've unlocked are more than just skins though. Once you simp enough for them using gift items, they'll start DMing you. These messages are put in the same
Confirmed. Control device is silent. Let's find the next one.
Yeah, I think the medium mod one is by far the best.
same section where
It's real.
DMs from actual other
No, this
players
shit's real.
show up. It would be funny if it weren't also kind of sad.
Yeah.
While this feature is executed better in Honkai Star Rail, Tower Fantasy did do it first. Another nice feature is that if you pull 4 copies of a character, you unlock an alternate skin for that character and their weapon.
Yep.
For those of you who are familiar with Genshin, this means that the alt skin unlocks at C3. While this does add additional pressure to pull on banners, overall I'd say that it's a net positive.
Well, it of course gives you more pressure to spend money because that's what the game is built around. The entire existence of the game, it's like a funnel to spending money. Now, you can, one thing that's different with this is that you can buy things, like you can buy upgrades for the weapons on the store.
Although I am just a little biased. Part of this is because of how the pity system in the in-game shop works. In Tower Fantasy, you always get a 50-50 pity on your 80th pull on a banner.
Yeah.
Compared to Genshin's variable pity, capped off at 90 rolls. Pity in Tower Fantasy is always 50-50, but each pull also gives you a token.
Yeah, so you can buy these. That's what I did.
And 120 tokens allow you to buy a copy of the featured character from the shop. This means that the hard guarantee for a character's is 110 pulls, compared to Genshin's 180. On top of this, if the character you pulled is on the standard banner, you can buy an extra copy of them from the shop at any time, since the dailies for this
And
game...
it resets like every week or something, so you can just do it a bunch of times.
Are there more enemies?
Give you one standard...
Is it actually possible to enjoy this free to play? Okay. You have to understand something. Can you play this free to play? Can you eat dog shit? Like, is it possible for you to eat dog shit? Could you do it? You could eat dog shit, right? It would be awful. You'd hate the taste. You'd probably throw up. But you could eat dog shit.
Actually, I'm getting used to this fast recharge. And this stream speed. Holy shit.
Yes, you can enjoy this game free to play.
Pull per day, you can slowly upgrade all of your standard characters over time.
Yep.
Meaning if you stay dedicated, you can eventually get all of them maxed.
Dedicated, diligent farmer, only to be outspent by a whale in 3 days and then left in the fucking dust.
Down. I cannot stress how much I wish this system was in Genshin. However, this does come at a cost.
Take them down, 61. I'll clean up the mess.
One thing I discovered very early on in playing this game was the stark power difference between the different tiers of weapons.
Yeah, those
the SR characters in this game,
close range
equivalent to
missiles.
Genshin's 4 stars, are basically worthless compared to the
That
Well,
sucks.
they're
That really
worthless,
sucks.
pathetic, bad,
But I missed
stupid,
this
and
guy.
ugly.
Okay.
All the hot
There's one
characters
more.
are the expensive ones, and the ugly characters are the cheap ones. That's just how it
I
is.
fucking hate it. Pick doesn't block without.
And on top of that, despite the fact that newer characters in Global are usually quite heavily nerfed compared to the Chinese version of the game, all of the new SSRs wind up outclassing the previous ones. That's not to say the standard SSRs are bad, so much as the limited SSRs are just that much better. Sure, they occasionally move older limited SSRs to the standard banner, and they have buffed older SSRs. But the newer characters almost always wind up power creeping the old ones.
Yep.
This makes the game essentially pay to win, and while in practice...
Oh, that's what makes it pay to win. Oh.
Wearing it down. Finish at 621.
As you can still experience basically everything this game has to offer as a free-to-play, you will always be outperformed by people who spend money on the game to a rather
Well, no shit.
absurd degree.
So this is how bad it is. So I wanted to level in Tower of Fantasy and keep leveling and keep my character at max level because they would increase the max level like every week or something. So there was like this one version of the game that you could play, and it would just continuously, it was like 5 different levels, and you could just do it over and over and over, and it would just give you a little bit more experience every single time. And so I would tab between each game, and I would play Tower of Fantasy and level my character up while I was playing another game actually, right? And I would turn on auto battle, because this game has autoplay for you. And my Frontier Clash or something like that. And my auto battle autoplay, because they have a built-in damage meter for the game. Bro, I was clearing the entire thing, and I saw these like free-to-play players that are like jumping around, like, oh,
every time I say
I'm
this,
just
it is
sitting there
mess.
getting hit by stuff. It's not even
I
moving
ruined
my
it
health
by
bar.
saying it.
And like I'm killing everything. Like I'm doing way more damage. I'm carrying the group. I'm not even in the room. Yeah, I'm not even there. Like I'm not even playing the game right now. I'm just relaxed.
Maybe significantly cheaper to max out a limited character in Tower of Fantasy compared to Genshin, but that doesn't matter when you're forced to continually max out new characters in order to keep up with other players.
Try something.
In addition to the power creep pressuring you into spending more on the game, there are a number of other additional psychological...
Yeah, so that's right, guys.
This one is the highest assault boost trust.
So, let's just count for a second here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 currencies are on this. Oh, sorry, 9, 10. Oh, sorry, 9.
Wait,
9
actually,
currencies are already there. Yeah, 9 currencies are on the screen right now. That's right.
Additional psychological tricks the game has that makes it even worse than Genshin.
Oh, yeah.
Dark patterns are much more obviously integrated into the game's UI and overall design, making it much more manipulative and predatory.
Yeah, I never saw any dark patterns.
This game is built from the ground up for multi-
Actually, this is a really funny thing. So what you have to understand about the chat system in this game is what they did in order to have a chat system for this game is they went back, they got a time machine, and they went back to 2001, and they actually took the source code from the Neopets website, and they used the Neopets chat from 2001 for Tower of Fantasy's chat right now. I was surprised too whenever I heard it, but it's a fantasy sci-fi game, so I guess it makes sense.
Player. No! Got him. There are world bosses, instant...
And again, I want to say also...
No!
The only fat person in the game is an enemy. There it is.
Got him. There are world bosses, instant dungeons, weekly raids, and a bunch of other activities you can do with your friends and your clan.
Oh yeah.
I have to switch. Oh, will it not let me switch?
You even get bonus currency for helping out new or returning players.
Yeah, you do.
Tower Fantasy is the only game where you can type in global chat that you've got blue balls, and that gets people to join your squad. Just don't get too many people fighting the same world boss, or the server will crap itself. While the
By too many, he means 6.
Majority of this game is PvE. There are a few PvP modes. We don't talk about them. However, for some reason...
I was gonna do the PvP because I read the Tower of Fantasy Terms of Service, and nowhere on the Terms of Service did they ever mention that it was against the rules to win trade in PvP. Not once was it ever mentioned that you can't win trade in PvP. So all I was gonna do is just win trade for the entire thing because there's a mount. There's like this, you know the mount like in Mechagon and WoW? Where it's like a wheel and you're inside the wheel and you're driving? There's a mount like that you get from PvP, and I was gonna like cheat to get the mount, but I just ended up not doing it. You read it all? Yeah, it took me like 10 minutes. It's not a big deal. Yeah, the Grand Marshal mount, yeah.
I do have...
Dota thinks that forcing PvP minigames on people for their events
Actually,
is a
I
good
use this
idea.
one.
This means that...
Yep.
In complete opposition to Genshin, Tower Fantasy's time-limited events are a complete joke. In order to get the rewards, you'll often have to subject yourself to frustrating minigames, or queue your character through hours of AFK farming. While some of these aren't inherently unfun, the amount of times you have to run them and the gap in rewards between the winners and the losers makes them draining at best. Some of these minigames also gain nothing by being PvP, and I'd even argue it actively detracts from the experience for a number of them. It's one of the few times I've been glad that content has been temporary, which I think says a lot.
So there was one PvP, like this is before I quit the game, and there's a character that's able to make an ice wall, right? I think her name was like Meryl. And what I did is it was a race, and I got ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, the bee's faster.
And I used her ult to make an ice wall. And nobody could get around the wall. And I just got first place, and it was about like 4 seconds. Bro, I blew everybody the fuck out. It was one of the best times ever. I was so happy doing that.
Babe, it's 4 p.m. Time for another Fall Guys ripoff. At least the rewards are generally worth pursuing, and in that aspect, TOF is quite generous. According to the stats page that was available during the game's 6-month anniversary, I had received the equivalent of 733 event pulls for free.
Wow.
Of course, you do have to keep in mind that these free pulls don't mean...
I like how they have the actual machine there, just in case you're under any fucking... you're under any delusion of like, what are you doing right now? You're playing a gacha machine. It literally has it right there.
Pulls don't mean nearly as much as the free pulls Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail give out due to power creep. What fascinates me is that Tower Fantasy as a game is carried almost completely by excelling in the few areas that Genshin comes up lacking, namely the character customization and proper multiplayer content.
Yeah, I like
certainly
that.
didn't anticipate sinking over 400 hours into this game, but since it's relatively easy to keep up with new content, I find that I never really want to fully drop out from playing it.
Wow.
It's times like these that I take a step back and reflect on how I got to this point.
Yeah,
the massive player dogpiles, the high mobility, the squads of players zipping around on motorcycles and wing gliders. Some faint memories start coming back to me. The year is 2014.
What?
I sat down in front of the family computer after a long day at high school. I load up Skype, I start up Steam, and then my friends and I all start playing a little game called Firefall, a now long-dead sci-fi MMO that died all too soon. The high mobility, the mounts, the massive fights that brought together a couple dozen players as we fought bosses, push-backed enemy invasions, or just mined for resources. I realized Tower Fantasy accidentally managed to hit a forgotten vein of nostalgia in me. An itch I didn't even know I had got scratched by this game, and in a warped, corrupted way, this game is the closest thing I have to a spiritual successor. Maybe in a different timeline, Firefall managed to succeed and have a dedicated player base keeping it up and running. Perhaps in that version of events, I could have ignored Tower Fantasy and kept dropping thumpers and fighting melding tornadoes. I guess, having realized this, I now finally know why Tower Fantasy is the worst game I can't stop playing.
Jesus Christ.
Unknown intruder detected. Normalization process.
Let's see how many people can't stop playing the game.
They must have stood watch even after they were abandoned by their masters.
No thanks.
Go over here.
Stay on the ground so I don't get lost.
Tower of
How about
Fantasy.
at least that tanky?
2,000 people. Now, obviously, it has its own launcher and.
Also, that's its own launcher. Everything has its own launcher.
A dead game. Well, it had most people play it on like their launcher, right? Nobody plays it on Steam though. Yeah. Like overall, the game does seem like it's going down. It's like if you look at the number, and you see the number, like right now it's at 2,000, and like 2,000 is a bad number. Because before it's at 3,000 and 4,000, before it was at 5,000. And now it's at 2,000, which is worse than 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000, right? So that's kind of, you know, a little problematic there. I'm just saying. No, I think this video was pretty fair. I'm gonna be honest. People wanted me to watch this because I had played the game in the past. I think this is a pretty good. This is a pretty good video. It was pretty fair. Overall, like he talked about some of the positives and negatives, etc. I think it was very, very fair. This is a great video. I actually really like this a lot. This guy's only got 2K subs. Make sure to give him a sub if you liked it. Let's take a look at this. I'm actually curious what this is.
This video is brought to you by Surfshark. I was very uncertain whether or not to include a sponsor on this one due to the subject matter, but Surfshark is a tool promoting security and protection, so I landed on yes. Alright, before getting started, I want to do a brief history of who I am and outline my relationship to TikTok as a social media application. I do not actively use the platform. I understand that there is massive growth potential for any creator. I understand that creators who leverage it properly are seeing monumental follower gains. And I understand that
I feel like a lot of the follower gains people get on TikTok are like really kind of circumstantial just to TikTok.
Oh Lord.
Like they're just in the TikTok ecosystem. So like somebody can have like fucking 3 million followers on TikTok and they have 20,000 followers on Twitter and they get like 200 likes. Nobody gives a shit. So like TikTok is like you can blow up on TikTok, but it's very contained.
There's content there which...
There are people that break that mold though.
But all things combined, TikTok is a platform that I despise. I've covered the application multiple times now. Okay. First, it was criticism of trends and challenges, where TikTok users would dress as victims of global tragedy and inappropriately sing or dance on screen.
I don't know. I mean, like, I always view like that, like kids would like dress up as like you know, a Holocaust victim, stuff like that. Man, like there are people in my school like that would dress up as fucking like fucking KKK members, and they weren't even white. They were just dressing up as KKK members. I feel like kids doing stupid, like really bad stuff like that, this isn't a new development. Kids were doing this whenever I was in high school. Kids were doing this like on YouTube, on Vine. I feel like it's always been like this. Yeah, like this is nothing new with TikTok. It's just because it's a big platform, you see it more. Did we got packed out of my school? Oh, nobody gave a shit of mine.
To be victims on the anniversary of 9/11, pretending to be victims of the Holocaust. These teenagers were displaying what I consider to be a horrifying lack of respect and common decency. But even worse...
I don't know, like the lack of respect and common decency, I do see like some... The thing is, like, I do definitely see some people that are doing it to mock it. But you've got to also remember, like, these are people who are kids. These are like 15 and 16-year-old girls. Like, you can't necessarily expect these people to be able to understand the nuances of a genocide. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I just, like, maybe it's just like me, but like, whenever I see a kid do something really dumb like that, I don't really hold it against them. I'm like, it's a kid, man. Like, I think back at dumb shit that I did whenever I was a kid. You're kidding me? I didn't dress up as a Holocaust victim. That was dumb. But I did other shit that probably they think is even dumber than what they're doing. Yeah, it's being a kid. Yeah, it's a fucking teenager. I don't know, like, I don't think this is a big deal. I really don't.
Many of these users were also participating in challenges. Challenges are a flash in the pan of social media popularity, but in a short amount of time, they can deal a substantial
That's the worst.
Challenges on TikTok range from benign or relatively easy tasks to flat-out dangerous behavior. Snorting spray tan solution, for example, which allegedly increases melanin.
I feel like every time that I see something like this, there's also the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, right? That raised a lot of money for you know, people with that that disorder. So like, I don't think that challenges are like fundamentally bad, and I think the fact is, media influencers taking TikTok, Canon nasal sprays helping develop eye-catching golden glow. I mean, I will definitely say that if you are a content creator and you're trying to like sell a product and you're doing stuff like this to your audience, I don't know, like it's really hard for me to say that somebody should stay on the platform whenever they're promoting snorting nasal spray. You know, missing a big point. The kids in your class reach 200 people. Kids posting on TikTok reach about 200,000 people. It can affect the health of society. I don't know, man. I mean, you could say the exact same thing about 4chan. You could say the exact same thing about YouTube, about Facebook, etc. Like, I don't really think that's the case. I think people go through shit whenever they're younger, and obviously, like, kids get into stupid shit, and then they get older, and most of them grow out of it. Some of them don't. I don't know. It doesn't seem like a big deal to me. Yeah, it's like it's almost like a satanic panic. It's weird. I do think this is dumb, but it's also important to contextualize like the amount of people that are actually like doing this kind of stuff. Very minimal.
Eating entire scoops of dry protein mixing powder, which can cause aspiration pneumonia. Drinking methylene blue, commonly used as fish tank cleaner, to recolor your tongue. Yeah. And the list goes on. Challenges on TikTok range from innocent to potentially life-threatening, and anywhere in between.
I do think that like there are some good challenges, like the ALS bucket challenge. I do think that, you know, contextually that happened before TikTok though. So I don't think challenges are like categorically bad. but I could see why. I don't think that it's unreasonable to expect TikTok to try to suppress challenges that are self-harm. You know what I mean?
Putting pennies behind electrical sockets, which causes electrocution and fire, holding your own breath until you pass out, and slapping school teachers or vandalizing school bathrooms. When I say that these challenges are now a constant part of our everyday lives...
I mean, am I the only person that remembers the Vine challenges of, like, stealing things from stores? What was it called? Fucking put them in a casket whenever you would, like, put your arms over your shoulders and then fall down onto things in, like, a store and knock stuff over? Okay, yeah, like, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I really just, I feel like this shit, yeah, planking. Put him in a coffin, there it is. Yeah, put him in a coffin. Yeah, there he goes. This is, fuck. Like, the best thing, bro, the fucking funniest thing about this shit is, like, those guys that were in, like, 2011, 2012, putting them in a coffin, right? Now they're sitting here fucking 29 years old about how bad TikTok is because it has kids graffitiing the wall at a school. You see what I'm saying? Like, I feel like nobody sees how the wheel is turning.
Even when we don't know it. I'm being serious because the influence of TikTok that has bled over from
fatal
personal
online
behavior
trend
to societal impact is profound. On December 17th of 2021, in the aftermath of a national tragedy, TikTok gave rise to ambiguous but substantial threats of violence against schools, forcing a nationwide...
Maybe I'm a bit old. I'm not the only person who remembers the you know, the panics that, like, mainstream media would have in the 90s and the 2000s about kids having similar like different types of, like, challenges that were going around the nation that would, like, they would harm themselves. Yeah, I remember them. Yeah, I'm trying to think of some examples, but, like, yeah, trench coat, planking, yeah, Tide Pods. That's a great example. Tide Pods are a great. It's a semi-recent one, but, like, I mean, this was going around, like, way before TikTok.
Security response
media
in the United
was building
States.
this up in
Some
2003.
parents were never aware. Some may have heard about it after the fact, but this social media app was playing a role in school cancellation now, forcing a police response to thousands of elementary schools. Ultimately, nothing happened, thank God, but the reality of what this app has become cannot be denied. However, for those already forming an opinion of the platform, it gets worse. The next example of coverage I looked into was medical. TikTok is a home to viral and popular trends, but what are those trends doing? For teenage girls, those trends are likely causing neurological disorders, as they are bombarded by and subjected to viral content of facial and behavioral tics or manufactured quirky behavior, which they begin to subconsciously imitate. TikTok trends designed to be engaging and funny, like multi-million view fake videos of Tourette's tics, is causing actual health problems in underage users.
I do think, what do you call it? Like, I would probably agree with that, like, having people go and, you know, like, act like they have Tourette's, etc. But, like, I think that we should contextualize the Tourette's example as every single person, whenever they found out that girl was, like, faking Tourette's, universally fucking disowned her.
Yeah,
it's not like this is somebody who's doing it for fun on TikTok and everybody likes her. Everybody fucking hated her. You see what I'm saying? I do think that you can make a very strong argument, though, with what Upper Echelon is saying, that social media is probably harmful. I think that if you, like, you know, you have, like, two different, like, I don't know, like, fucking scales, and you have the good and the bad. I think for, like, young kids and, like, teenagers, like 15-year-olds, shit like that, I think that there's probably more weight in the bad scale. Because the reality is, like, look at, for example, the Holocaust thing, right? You have some 15-year-old girl, she thinks that she's doing, you know, she's doing black people a favor by putting on blackface and pretending to act out a scene as if she's a slave. And then, you know, her face is on a million fucking articles. You've got thousands of people messaging her, telling her to kill herself. And like, this person basically put themselves in the crosshairs of thousands and maybe millions of people because they're a naive, stupid kid that doesn't understand the nuances of blackface because they're 15 fucking years old. So like that, like, you see what I'm saying, right? It's like, it's harmful in a way that's, like, actually not even because of the website itself. It's because of the way that people react to it. So like, now this girl, is going to have to, like, she's always going to be known as Blackface Betty. You know, everybody's going to say, you know, like whenever she fucking goes to whatever school she goes to for college, everybody's going, oh, you're the blackface girl. I remember you. And it's like, so are you really racist? Like, do you really hate them or what? Like, do you want to bring back slavery? And like this kind of shit, right? Like, it fucks somebody up. So I do think that, like, if you put it in context of like under 18s or maybe under 20s using social media, TikTok, in my opinion, again, is no different than Twitter or any of these other ones. Instagram, I think Instagram might be worse for girls, but in general, you know, all different varying levels of bad, depending on how you look at it. I think that you could very strongly make an argument that TikTok is worse for young people than good.
It gets worse. The entire application is formed around small snippets of content. One of my most popular videos ever was called TikTok is Destroying a Generation, and centered on medical research suggesting that TikTok lowers attention spans, decreases concentration, and affects short-term memory. These factors combined is...
I mean, I would have to look at that and see what that is. Because, like, is it something that is unique to TikTok? Is it unique to TikTok in a way that it is not unique to video games, social media as a whole, social media consumption, television usage, etc.? You see what I'm saying? It's like, what is the control here? I don't know. I might actually look into this because I like my gut reaction is that TikTok probably does create this trend, but this trend is probably created through consuming content on the internet organically. You see what I'm saying? So like that's what my gut reaction to it is. But I don't know. I haven't read the study. I don't know what these graphs are.
As well as the resulting depression and anxiety that are built when users cannot properly moderate their own attention span, also their susceptibility to advertising, which can be very damaging, or are subjected to things that they are unable to avoid or turn away from due to self-control issues, make TikTok a singular feedback loop of nearly all major negative factors involved with social media entirely.
I'm not sure if I entirely agree that TikTok is the problem because people lack self-control. I find that to be like a very dangerous precedent to set, logically. I think it's like, if somebody is unable to control themselves, is it society's responsibility to make the entire world a padded room for their inability to do that?
Since TikTok is a one-stop shop designed to facilitate rapid digestion of content for everything bad that has come from this aggressive social media revolution. That video...
One second, let me read this.
Content for everything bad that has come from this...
Rapid onset of functional tick-like behaviors in young adults during COVID-19 pandemic. I mean, if I look at the results and methods and everything like this, I don't see TikTok. This is tick. And I actually did read something that there were speech therapists that were making comments that they've had so many kids and like parents of kids that need to have help from these speech therapists because the isolation during COVID effectively like retarded somebody's speech. It literally held it back multiple years, and they can't speak properly, and they're having teachers that are trying to get them to speak properly. I still speak good, yeah, exactly. And it's like everyone wearing masks, yeah.
Revolution. That video, the previous one, went viral. In the aftermath, I was engaging with a number of professors and lower grade teachers about which particular sources I had used and in what order, with an ultimate effect where the subject matter itself crossed over into classrooms. That level of response felt good. I was proud of it. I dislike TikTok. I formed that opinion based on a variety of medical and social factors. I sourced the information, and then it had some measure of impact as a result. But
I wish we could see more of these studies, because the study that he just showed with Tourette's doesn't show or indicate any causal link between Tourette's or tics and TikTok. Like, if you read the page, there's nothing that implied a link between the two things.
Believe me when I say this. It gets exponentially worse from here. Alright, before going further, sponsored video, and that sponsor is, once again, Surfshark. Your life online is a minefield. You play games, browse websites, download files, basically everything is a risk. Surfshark is here to help with that. by offering VPN, virtual private network services, that can help insulate you from a variety of online threats. Surfshark offers protection from certain phishing attacks, a serious issue in the world of social media, and crypto especially. It can protect against malware, DNS tunneling, DDoS attacks, spyware, and also shield you from the inevitable and constant data harvesting, as well as tracking, from big tech companies.
I feel like everybody just uses fucking... They use VPN to just look at porn.
Activating combat mode.
Or like watch Netflix in another country. Like, does anybody actually like use VPN because of malware or like phishing? I feel like you just use it to look at porn.
Keep an eye on your surroundings.
I don't know, maybe that's just me.
This must be a...
Even further, Surfshark can unlock additional content on streaming websites, Netflix, for example.
Yeah,
geographic location is tied often directly to licensing agreements or contracts. Simply change your region and enjoy increased options in your video library. Surfshark can get you around regional censorship, such as government restrictions on websites, which happens a lot these days, and also offers encryption, IP protection, or modification, and so much more. Today, they are offering 83% off and 3 full months free if you click the link down below in the description using promo code ECHELON. Again, that's promo code ECHELON, and 3 full months for free if you click the link down below in the description. Big thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring the channel and being a long-standing partner. And this is the part of the video where I need to outline methods and give disclaimers. Okay. Investigating this subject matter is kind of tricky. Merely possessing a recording of what I looked into is probably, under some circumstances, illegal. Having been made aware by a community request that TikTok Live might contain problematic underage content, I was faced with a difficult question of how exactly to investigate this. After a great deal of thought, I landed on this kind of solution. I would not engage with anything that I discovered, except to say precisely what I was doing. Investigating TikTok Live to see if there is inappropriate or directly paid for explicit content by minors. If I encountered a broadcast that I believed to be a legitimate example of underage explicit content, I would cease recording immediately, document what I had found with notes only, and move on. I would only record footage from streams where I was reasonably sure that those recordings were not over the line, and I would blur all, or nearly all, of the content that I recorded in the final video, since much of it would likely be near the line at best, should this kind of content be
Oh my god.
I was not prepared for what would happen next.
Alright,
Using a TikTok account I created some time ago for challenge and trending research purposes on prior videos,
Holy
I
shit,
began
this
to
is
browse the
annoying.
TikTok Live page.
Fucking
It's important to note
saucers.
here that TikTok Live does not function like YouTube or Twitch, for example, because you are not able to directly search keywords or categories. TikTok is, above all else, a
Was that dude scratching off lottery tickets?
primary feed of popular content where you selectively choose what to engage with, but that content feed is determined by an algorithm. This presents our first problem.
Sure.
The TikTok algorithm, as reported and investigated by the Wall Street Journal, utilizing dozens of custom-bought scanning accounts, served a never-ending stream of drug content and sexual fetish material to users between the age of 13 and 15. The algorithm began to bombard these...
Let's take a look.
If I was between the ages of 13 and 15, it would be serving it to me because I'd be asking for that. I mean, I'm just saying.
Hostile ratings.
I remember one time, my mom, I realized that I couldn't delete part of the porn history on my thing, and I told my mom that I was getting porn pop-ups to preemptively make her think that I wasn't looking at porn, and it wasn't me. But it was actually that I couldn't delete all of the history in that way, and she was like, "Oh wow, I'm so sorry you had to see that." Yeah, so I wonder how many of these fucking kids. It's the website's fault. Yeah, she believed it. One time I told her that I had to look at porn because everybody in my school called me gay, and I was getting bullied for them calling me gay, so I had to look at porn because I was getting bullied at school. And she actually felt sorry for me and forgot about the entire thing. Bro, like I have finessed myself out of so many situations.
Test accounts made as users with a self-expressed age of 13, 14, or 15 with non-stop depictions of whips, chains, or torture devices. They were funneling these children into what some users refer to as kink talk, which commonly contained sexual power dynamic fantasies.
That's it, like, this is the shit that I was talking about before, where I do think that it's probably better if kids aren't on places like TikTok and Twitter. Like, I really think that, like, this is a this is a bad
Who
thing.
use those?
Overall, like young kids,
that's right.
minors being on these platforms is probably bad. I've been on social media ever since I was 13, 14 years old, and I don't think that it was bad for me, but like MySpace wasn't the same as TikTok.
Very explicit behavior. Hundreds of videos containing adult material, whether it be substances, behavior, or both, were served in rapid succession to underage accounts by a central feed, which is governed by the algorithm. Now, it's important to understand how and why this occurs.
YouTube had a whole issue with this stuff happening, and that was part of what like the whole Elsa Gate thing was. Is that YouTube was also pushing these like weird perverted fetish videos to like little kids. So like TikTok is definitely behind on this, like massively fucking behind on this. And like while I don't think that TikTok is fundamentally bad,
let go.
at least not yet. I haven't finished the video, but I think this is fundamentally bad.
That question might be incredibly complex. One of the easiest explanations is watch time. How long do you hover over a video letting it play? This one key metric can be used to determine, without ever needing to examine likes or followers, what content is more popular on TikTok. For children ages 13 to 15, sexualized material can be dangerous. Simply watching that portion of the feed for a few seconds longer, even if you never decide to like the video or follow the posting account, can tell the algorithm that you want to see more. And in a matter of minutes, you can be sucked down a rabbit hole of algorithmically driven.
Yeah, I hate the chainsaw. I hate the chainsaw so much. I can't hit shit with this thing.
TikTok Live is a central feed where users are mostly subjected to whatever the platform wants them to see, until they have found specific streams that
I
they
can
already
hit nothing with the
broadcasters and followed those accounts. But what happens when the feedback loop starts, and what if the subject matter is even worse? At this point, I need to say something to everyone watching, especially parents. I can't show you all of what I found. I can't even show you most of what I found. Out of respect for the children involved, I need to heavily censor, redact, or remove portions of
that's okay, I'm fine.
other on-screen content, but what I found here is disturbing. Within minutes of browsing the feed, I was being shown users, primarily girls, who were certainly under 18 and could easily have been under the technical age requirement of 16 for TikTok Live, which many users I found would openly admit. Some stated without hesitation or numerous times that they were 15, others 14, etc. And it became clear that should the algorithm decide to serve you that content, if you watch it longer, or if you like any of it, there was no shortage. From there, things got worse. I started to see questionable content popping up where girls, often appearing to be quite young, were holding signs or standing in front of the camera with a revealing outfit. Those signs would say things like rose equals say daddy, or ice cream equals 360 spin, or even universe equals cut shirt. Or in one case, a woman who was definitely older than 18, she would cut off the wedding dress she was wearing for a certain chat sticker. The thing is, these pictures, or stickers, are not just pictures. They're money. In a way that seems nearly purpose-built for obfuscation, these little stickers and pictures, like a rose, are actually a way to donate money to these broadcasters, many of whom were openly admitting to being under 18 or even under 16 years old, as they did spins, bent over on camera, lifted their shirts, or engaged in other clearly suggestive content directly for money. Following the rules that I set out for myself through 4 separate sessions, I had to cut the recording and delete the footage over half a dozen times. Bombarded now with a feed of this content determined by the TikTok algorithm, I was being served a never-ending stream of girls on TikTok, many of them at very young ages, being paid by a chat room of viewers intending to see them in compromising positions. It's awkward, it's uncomfortable, and once you begin to see what's really happening, it makes you sick. But there's more. Attempting to go...
Okay. Alright. Yep, I'm sold. Yeah, okay. I mean, the thing is, like... Yep. Alright. This is what I... But wait, there's more. Yeah, I know. Look at the fucking video. We're not even halfway done. And so, yeah, this is Haram Brothers, straight to hell. Yeah, there's a lot of pedos in America. I mean, this is an international website. The thing is, like... This is... Like, I do think this is really, really fucking bad.
I still don't know.
That's a problem with the fuck. Yeah, it's like I don't know if they're like not managing it, if they don't give a shit or what. Like this is really, really, really fucking bad. Hassan loves TikTok. Well, like there are a lot of people that use TikTok that don't even know this exists. Like, don't go and say that anybody that uses TikTok is somehow complicit in this. To be fair, I remember this happened on Twitch.
Oof.
This has happened on Twitch too. I know that this is something that people might not want to admit. Twitch might not want me to say this, but yeah, this has happened. It was a big thing like 3 years ago. And yeah, of course, it happens on all these platforms. The problem is that it happened on Twitch, and like it was like a big deal. It happened once, it got deleted immediately. Like Twitch is so proactive with this stuff. Think about it like this: Twitch is so proactive with this stuff that piece of shit that went on a shooting rampage somewhere up in New York, they banned his no-name fucking 0 viewer Andy stream within like 10 minutes. So compared to TikTok, Twitch is doing a great job.
About this process ethically, I began to ask questions in the chat.
This is such a gimmick fight, even more than the ice worm. Just have to hope that he looks directly at you.
Types of questions that I was intending to ask rather than I'm a gaming YouTuber, so yeah. I would directly state that I was a journalist investigating the TikTok platform to see if there are underage users being paid by older men for explicit content. And the results were very troubling. One of 3 specific things would happen when I asked this question.
Probably the other people in the chat would tell him to shut up. Because like, yeah, it's guys that are doing this online. And it's like the girl, I mean, like, she's a fucking kid, right? I mean, if a guy offers people $100, if people are dumb as fuck, right? That's why there is an age of consent. That's why you can't fucking sign a contract when you're 14. That's the whole reason for it. So yeah, it's like these people are getting, they're literal groomers. Like there's no, it's not like, you know, you're making some joke. Like, no, like that's literally what it is. And it is that simple.
I'm going to show heavily redacted background footage with audio.
Ban that, exactly, yeah.
2 of those outcome possibilities. The first was that the broadcaster would ignore them.
Don't do that. Women are disgusting too. Far more women teachers fucking young boys and girls than men. I don't think that's true. I think that there's far more male teachers doing that. And I think the reason why you hear about the female ones is because they're more salacious. Because sometimes you hear about like some female teacher that's like fucking her students and, you know, she's attractive. And so you have like all of these guys that are fucking 53-year-old boomers with wraparound sunglasses and a camouflage hat on with a gray beard saying like, hey, where was she whenever I was in middle school, huh, brothers? Man, was it like that when we was at school, huh? That's why. That's the fucking reason why. It's because it's shown to you more, because it's gonna give you it's gonna give more reactions. Every guy that does this with some fucking student, like some girl, student, nobody sees this. Like, nobody sees it because it happens so often, it's not newsworthy.
Or refuse to engage. That's what I expected, and I wasn't surprised in the slightest. The second was that the broadcaster would immediately suspend me from the chat, and repeatedly, even frantically, express that they were 18 years old, or 19 years old, or that I don't break terms of service, I promise, etc. Here's an example.
Alright guys, I am 19. I think someone asked in the comments. Guys, I'm 19. Yes guys, I am 19.
I mean, I don't know if she's 19 or not. I have no idea.
This response was also expected to a degree, considering the fact that a random user was asking them about what would be.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I don't know how old she is. I have no idea. But it's like that's like 1 point on like. Let's just ask the obvious fucking. Let's say what's clearly obvious here. There are many of them, even if none of the ones in this video are breaking TOS and are underage, there are many of them that are. So even if none of them on this video are, there are dozens and dozens and dozens of them that do that.
Borderline or highly illegal and disgusting behavior without any sort of preamble. They don't know who I am or what I actually want, and they simply respond by distancing themselves. However, the third outcome, which happened numerous times, was the most interesting and concerning. When asking the question of certain broadcasters, some of them would answer, yes, I have heard of that stuff. They would go on to describe that it didn't happen in their broadcast, but they did know about it. They had some friends who did it, etc., etc. But the strangest factor of all was that on more than one occasion, and only after they answered affirmatively to my questions, the broadcaster would be suspended or banned from the platform in real time. Here's an example of that. For context, this girl, I'm just going to call her Jane for privacy reasons, answered my question, as you'll hear, with "Yes, I do know about that. It doesn't happen here, though," and was then suspended immediately afterward.
I don't know what to tell you, man. We doing it. Do you hear older men using TikTok Live anonymous? Yes, I do. But nobody's on here with that. And if they are, I dismiss it right away. I'm a journalist investing in a platform. That's what's up.
Okay.
I went on to have a roughly 10-minute off-platform interview with Jane about specifics of this, and this is where I started to become aware of coded language. To be clear, I cannot give a definitive reason why multiple broadcasters were suspended as soon as they answered my questions, acknowledging that the problem even exists, but it did not happen a single time to a broadcaster that blocked me or refused to answer. It only happened when they gave a statement, and it might be possible that the ban was simply for evading the 16-year-old age requirement. Jane had acknowledged in the very same broadcast that she was 15 and was...
I feel like that's probably what it was. Yeah, I feel like that's probably what it was. Because that's what happens like on Twitch. You guys know about the thing that they have that like automatically detects certain types of chat variations of people saying that they're underage, and then because of that it will automatically ban their account? Yeah.
Coincidentally handed down at that particular moment, but I am extremely skeptical of what was going on here. Regardless, this is when I started to learn about coded language, and where it became increasingly difficult for me to keep investigating. It felt disgusting and wrong to even sit silently in these rooms, let alone continue to ask questions. Things started to make sense from then on as to what precisely was happening. Viewers are using coded language to have underage girls perform for them. That's really what it is. Fit check means let us see your stomach, or pull your shirt up. You forgot something, or get something from the back means walk away and show your ass. Outfit check was a common one, very common, where girls would back up to show their entire bodies. And the chat rooms were completely overrun with requests, and I don't just mean trolls.
Wait.
They were overrun with viewers requesting feet pictures, often referred to as feet check, or toe ring check, or anything like that.
They charged them? I don't think so.
Platform and discuss some sort of larger transaction through Cash App. Do you want to make $400 fast or $500 fast, etc.? Or buying them something from their Amazon wishlist. I want to be extremely clear right now. Not all of the broadcasts that I...
Where are the parents? Like, number one, where's Chris Hansen? Where's the FBI? Where are the fucking parents? Like, holy shit, what's going on here? Oh my god!
Prostitution at 13, that's going on.
Yeah, Chris Hansen, where are you? This is nuts, man. Shitty dog shit parents. Yeah, toe ring check. It's just things that will... It's just, I mean, like, guys do this to girls on Twitch, right? It's like, can you stand up? It's like, like, you guys know this. Any female streamer, let's say she's an Apex Legends gameplay streamer, and you look at her top clips. Which one is gonna be the top clip? Probably her walking away from the fucking webcam. You know this, I know this. Yeah, stand up, something like this. This is very, very common. It's obviously not as common on Twitch now, but it was more common back in the day. So yeah, I mean, this is absolutely just what people do, right? It's just horny guys that just get on the internet and do stuff like this. I mean, like, it's bad whenever you're doing it to, like, just a girl, but, like, somebody underage, like, that's, like, 1,000 times worse, right? So, I really hope that, like, I don't see how this is as prevalent as it is, and they don't, like, because the problem is, like, also these users are probably not getting banned. Like, they're not getting banned fast enough. They're not getting removed off the platform, etc. Because, like, these users are also the ones that are creating the ecosystem for it. You see what I'm saying? Don't want your kids on social media, man. I mean, fuck. I can't see how you can watch this video and think that that's a good thing. And this is what I said at the beginning of the video, right? This is the one thing that I said that TikTok, you know, absolutely, like, because I know about this. Everybody does.
Found, or that I'm using in the background right now, were underage girls performing for money, but many of them were. Perhaps for some, they just looked younger than they were, but some of them openly acknowledged that they were 15 while taking donations in order to do squats and spins. These are children using TikTok Live to display their bodies, even fully clothed, but doing splits, showing their feet or spreading their legs for money from older men.
Well, it's important to know that, like, even if you think that showing your feet or something like that is not inherently sexual, it is for the people that are asking for it.
What? Oh.
So, like, even if you think, oh, it's not sexual, yes, it is. Yes, it fucking is. For the people that are asking for it, this is absolutely a sexual transaction.
Looks like we're ahead of their reinforcements.
A breeding ground of inappropriate and sickening behavior.
Yeah.
To be clear, I undertook multiple sessions of investigation. After starting with an old account, I created a brand new, fresh, never-before-touched profile and engaged with the same pattern of browsing. This new account fell into the same content black hole as before in a very short span of time, and were I to undertake the process again, I have no doubt in my mind at all of similar or identical results. I have to be careful here because certain claims I ran into over the course of my second session devolved into hearsay. It wasn't one of the specific girls that I talked to personally, but her friend who had been allegedly extorted after selling nude pictures to one of the viewers of her channel.
Oh, yeah.
That type of situation, and I do believe that she was sincere, as a personal opinion, is called sexting.
I mean, do we really have to call hearsay on a girl giving a guy nudes for money and then the guy extorting her for more nudes? Like, I mean, I don't know. I think that, like, if you just told me that that happened, I would be like, yep. Yep, that probably, yeah, I think that happened.
Extortion. And when underage girls...
It's her fault? No, the thing is, like, you're right, that, like, obviously, like, these girls should exercise better judgment and should not do this kind of stuff. But, like, you're talking about people that are literally too young to enter a contract. Like, there is a legal distinction that is, like, prevalent throughout all of society, that people of this age are not in full mental control of their actions.
Already over?
Yes, it is her fault too. Absolutely.
Wait,
but, like, who am I going to get really mad at here? Am I going to get mad at the girl who's doing it, who's getting a bunch of money and doesn't think that it's bad, and doesn't understand the fetishes that she doesn't know that she's playing into? Am I going to get mad at her? Am I going to get mad at her stupid fucking parents for not even knowing that this is happening? Or the shitty fucking website that's okay with it happening? Or the fucking pedophiles in the chat that are making a fucking ecosystem for it? Well, I'm gonna get mad at the first three, the last three. She's last on the list. Because that's what they are. Fuck, man.
Performing for money on a live broadcast, fielding thousands of donations in some cases.
Most parents aren't watching their kids 24/7 though. Let's say you have a daughter and your daughter is a teenager and she just happens to have, she's like, oh, I have people giving me money online. Do you think that the parents don't know that she has a lot more money? What do you think is going on? Be a good parent and think for 3 seconds. I can guarantee you, my dad, who's 75, if he heard that premise, he would know exactly what was going on immediately. So I don't want to give the excuse, oh, they didn't grow up on the internet. My dad would fucking know that in a second. My mom would have known that in a second.
Do that.
And requests for other ways to send them money for a favor is often.
I wish these things would be good.
It can absolutely occur on that platform. In a very short time frame, I was finding more instances that made my skin crawl than those that didn't. Yeah. Understanding that nearly every single teenage girl who uses the live broadcast feature of TikTok was being bombarded with requests.
And that's another thing too. That's actually a really good point, is that, and this is what happens on Twitch too. It's what happens on every social media platform as a girl. It doesn't really matter how old you are. You can be 12 or 40. you're gonna have a bunch of creepy guys if you post pictures of yourself that are trying to, like, you know, get in your DMs or something similar to that. Did he say how some of the viewers are buying the girl stuff on Amazon wish lists? How the parents not notice packages just showing up? Well, I mean, the girl could always have them sent to her friend's house and then try to hide them from the parent. But, like, you can always, the thing is, like, a good parent will be one step ahead. Because imagine getting outsmarted by a 14-year-old. Like, every time that me and Lowell tried to fucking set off fireworks, my mom would catch us. Every fucking time. It didn't matter, and she would be there fucking ready to catch us. And she was like, what's in the bag, Lowell?
The PCA are going to be fighting to win.
Oh, my homework? She's like, let me see it, make sure it's right. Wow, M1000s. Oh, you got charcoal in there, huh? Yeah, that's not how to make gunpowder. Good try though, guys. I'm gonna put this over here. All right, you're gonna go down to the park, have fun. And that was it, yeah. Yeah, just a dark silhouette. Yeah, that's what it was. My dad always too upset. Well, my dad was the one buying me the fireworks, right? Like, he was just like, the thing is, like, he knew we weren't gonna blow our hands off, right? Because he knew they weren't that bad. But my mom, she was like, no fireworks. Yeah, my dad was gonna buy it for me.
It starts to feel overwhelming. A 13-year-old girl who lies about her age is suddenly getting showered in gifts for showing her feet and twirling on camera. She gets more money when she dances.
I want to make sure that this is just as sick as it really is. She's getting the money because she's lying about her age.
That's the mercenary who took your name.
Keep that in mind.
And an algorithm designed to serve content that people are interested in.
Oh, that's just an
showing
AC
her
fight.
broadcast to more and more sick people all around the world every day, even every hour or minute. This kind of situation is so prevalent.
I forgot about Smashing.
I was shocked by it. I encountered young boys who were using Facebook, pretending to be young girls, in order to receive roses and other gifts, which are redeemable for cash. Maybe some of them were pranking the audience, sure, but if there is such a high demand for this, such a large economy of transactions and behavior taking place, the children will use filters to appear more feminine and engage with the profit. That is a serious problem. When doing follow-up research for this video, I learned something else. Moderators of TikTok are specifically being trained using real material depictions of child sexual abuse. Uncensored, explicit images of children are used in high volume for moderation training, and we need to ask a sincere question. Why do they feel...
Why don't we ask a sincere question? Why is the age not 18? Why is it 16?
Commence mission. Wait.
Like, how about that? Like, why is it 16?
The battle's over already.
Find out what's going on.
It's legal age in Europe? Yeah, I mean... I feel like if you have a higher age overall, it will be harder for younger people to pretend like they are the higher age. You see what I'm saying? So, like, it's not even about the age, it's about the disparity between people doing it and like, the people that are, the age that they're trying to be. It's in the... I don't care.
After my initial wave of research on the subject, I found an article written by Alexandra S. Levine titled "How TikTok Live Became a
Looks like he was
I've actually heard about, like, cops and shit like that that, like, really fucks up their head because they have to go through, you know, these, like, hard drives of these people, right? And like, they have to see all this stuff, and it just, like, completely fucks them up having to deal with all that stuff. And like, it's actually a big issue for like people that are moderators of these social media platforms to have to go through all of this like fucking terrible content. Like, I genuinely feel really bad for them.
Club filled with 15-year-olds. This was an excellent piece of work, and most importantly, contained quotes from security, legal, and law enforcement experts. I'll link it down below if anyone's interested. It was invaluable in my own creation. As per TikTok's own enforcement reports, they removed over 300 million videos in 2021 alone that violated their community guidelines. And the majority of these were not removed by automation. Combining the adult and sexual activities
do the enemies get knocked out? Or are they...
all videos removed since 2020.
I think they get knocked out of the stuff.
I don't see how you can have such a massive ecosystem of these like striptease like economy videos. Like there's clearly a lingo for this kind of stuff. Like
so
I do not, even with how big of a platform TikTok is,
so you can't
I do
even
not agree. Like why is there any striptease stuff going on TikTok? Why not just don't have it on the platform, and that way it doesn't matter how old you are? Why not just not have striptease content on the platform, period? And I'll tell you why. It's because they make
I don't know
money
if it's dodging or getting knocked out.
That's the reason.
Never hit anything with this shot.
Age of 13, 15 million of them in 1 quarter. October to December of 2021. 15 million account deletions for suspicion of being under 13 years old in just 3 months. I am not going to make the claim that TikTok is failing to try and moderate their platform. If their internal reports are to be believed, they certainly make that effort. I believe I witnessed it in real time as I investigated all this when broadcasters acknowledged my questions and were immediately suspended. They even resorted to highly unethical tactics to educate their moderators on child sexual material as they do this, but with the volume that they process, the sheer number of children flooding into the platform, and the undeniable economy that has arisen.
Here's my thinking on this, is like if you can't moderate it, you shouldn't have it.
Over already.
Like if you cannot provide a platform that people cannot get groomed on, then maybe you shouldn't do it in the first place. It's that simple. It's not like, oh, well, we have a lot of people that are going on the website, I guess we can't do anything. Maybe fucking try to think about why that is. And it doesn't matter, like, why, like, how many people you have hired to do this. It's clearly not enough. TikTok makes 90% off the sticker gifts. Live users give the broadcasters. A lot will tell you not to send them. It isn't worth it. That's why they push for larger gifts. They make more money off of them. So TikTok basically has a token system like Live Jasmine or something like that.
I know this mech can do a lot of damage if I combo it right. But I have to get good.
Holy shit. Like I don't fucking I go on TikTok like maybe once a month to see, like, you know, are there any viral videos of me? You know, any good videos of me on TikTok this month? All right, cool. Yeah, that was a good one. I did say the funny joke that day. Yeah, but that's about it. I mean, yeah, that's about all I do. It's crazy, man. You go on Live Jasmine a lot, though? No, but like, you know, like when you go on a porn site and you like try to like click and like play a video and it like opens up an ad for Live Jasmine? Like, you guys have had this happen, right? I mean, let's just be honest here, guys. Yeah. I mean, so yeah, of course. A fucking course. I've seen this.
Sexual exploitation, transactional behavior. We must ask the question, is this platform doing more harm than it is good? An algorithm that has aggressively promoted adult substances to kinks and more, directing that content at children, is now governing a live feed of broadcasters where underage girls are being showered in gifts to perform suggestive actions or poses.
And it's like, you think about these girls, right? How many times have you guys seen like some girl on Twitter or something like that, or TikTok or one of these places, like, and they turn 18 and they immediately start an OnlyFans?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like every girl starts immediately an OnlyFans at 18.
Like, how many of them probably were groomed for that? You know, by guys like this. All the time? Yeah.
Many of them with Cash App, PayPal, Amazon wishlist,
I hate him.
in their bio specifically for this purpose.
Yeah, he's using it when I'm out of range, and then I fly into it.
Watch intently. Many of them actively trying to pull the girls into an off-platform environment, whether for money or other incentives.
You saw that
footage I found within mere hours of investigating this topic had been cut several times in fear of crossing a profound, moral, ethical, even legal boundary. And once you have witnessed these broadcasts, even in passing, the machine learning that TikTok will continue to push them into your feed aggressively at every turn.
I mean, at that point, I mean, let's just call it what it is. I mean, they're literally pushing underage sexual content. That's literally what they're doing. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They are doing that. And I think that they should face the exact same scrutiny, probably more, than YouTube did. You guys remember ElsaGate? This was a massive fucking problem on YouTube, and YouTube took a huge L on this because they let it happen.
When I say this, anyone in my audience who is a parent or even a free-thinking teenager, carefully examine when and how you use this platform, because shrouded behind the simplistic visual of just a rose or an emoji is a cache for favors underbelly of children performing paid actions for groomers and sick individuals.
Yeah.
Set aside the dangerous challenges, the disrespectful trends, the medical concerns of imitation and neurological disorders, or the rampant scamming and falsified content that plague this platform each and every day. Set all of that aside and look now at one simple reality. An algorithm that has been proven to serve wildly inappropriate, even dangerous content to children now governs an effective marketplace of underage exploitation. Is this application worth using? That's it. I reached a point in the production of this video, just to be completely honest with everyone, where I couldn't take it anymore. If it feels like
I think that like this is something that the government should be involved with. Like I don't think that it's fair to put the responsibility on the individual consumer, on the individual person. Like I think this is something the government needs to be responsible for, and not you or me or anything like that.
Main system.
Ban it? I mean, I don't know about banning TikTok, right? I think that it's like there is a spectrum of like how to approach this problem. Do you just delete it? Do you have government regulation for it? Do you have, you know, different limitations on like content curation? Like for example, there are like so like these cam websites, for example, the camming websites. If you want to live stream on one of the camming websites, you have to submit like actual, like some of them require you, I think, to send in your birth certificate, but you have to send in a picture of your driver's license. You have to send in a bunch of verification in order to actually be on one of these cam websites. So like, why is it that you can't just require TikTok to do the exact same thing? You see what I'm saying? All easily fakeable? Yes, but like what you're doing is like you're narrowing down the amount of... So basically, all right, so imagine if you have no barrier to entry at all and you have 10,000 people that are doing it. And then imagine if you add in 5 barriers to entry and now you only have 2,000 people doing it. Which one is easier to moderate, 10,000 or 2,000? You see what I'm saying? It does help. Like it's not about... Like, every law that is made does not stop crime. There has never been a law that was made that effectively has stopped the crime from happening. Every crime that was happening with Cain and Abel is still happening today.
Why am I losing to this dude? I never lost before.
That's why. I had to shut down, stop looking, stop recording, and stop asking questions.
It's weird.
Stop scripting. I saw what I saw, and I know what it is. To a degree, you'll have to take my word for some of this, but I'm more than willing to stake everything I've worked for since the...
As somebody who has been on the internet for 20 years, he is completely right in everything that he's saying, and this video should be 1 hour and 20 minutes and not just 20 minutes. If anybody's been on the internet, this was the same thing with StickCam back in the day, and then there was like YouNow and like these other platforms. Like this is, TikTok is just the latest iteration of this. This has been going on the internet for the last 20 years. Omegle, yeah.
Yeah, Omegle.
Nothing. There's nothing new about this.
Holy shit.
It's just that it shouldn't be happening.
That this page exists.
Channel on my way. I believe TikTok is poisoning our society in a way that will have untold and dramatic consequences in the future. Young boys are being funneled into a world where underage girls are performing dances for cash, for little images that are convertible to cash. They're in chat rooms where explicit discussion of what they would like to do is taking place. If we think about this logically, what kind of result will that have on their opinion and their future behavior? In context, this social media platform is one of the most terrifying and disgusting.
It's bad because it makes guys resentful of girls because they have this opportunity, and that's like where you get tater tots. This is how tater tots are made. It's one of the reasons. And it's unfortunate, but that's what happens. It's a completely distorted view on things.
And again, I believe that to some degree TikTok as a company is attempting to moderate this reality.
Tater tots meaning kids that watch Andrew Tate and agree with everything he says. Maybe it was a little bit too tongue-in-cheek. That's what I meant to say.
But when the effects of your product are almost universally negative, it probably should not exist. That's it. Link down below, Patreon, Locals, Odyssey, another YouTube to check out, merch, social media, Surfshark, video sponsor, etc.
Yeah.
As always, thank you all for watching.
Still bad as fuck, holy shit.
Yeah, it's a bit much. It's a bit fucking much. Here, let me link you guys a video. Upper Echelon Gamers has actually done like some really good investigative journalism videos. Like I really like these a lot. Talking about, you know, important issues like this. I think this is a big deal.
That was
so
an A.
Yeah, I'm really glad to see.
That was no way.
I'm glad to see this happening. New Lazy Peon video. Yeah, I'll watch that in a bit. Since softball technology giving us opportunities straight from ideal path. No, I mean you're right that like guys have been trying to do this to girls for like thousands of years. Like I don't think that like nobody is saying that this is like a new development, but being able to do it with pretty much like complete impunity and anonymity, and to do it in the most the worst way possible. Let's just say that. I think that's really what the problem is.
Main system
and it's also that like the company is making billions of dollars off of it. It's that simple, right? Is that like these companies are making billions of dollars off of having you know, underage cam shows on their platform. It's outrageous. Should be actively fought against. I think that people should I wish more people knew that this was happening. Because like I think that like anybody who's like us, right? Like internet users that are online all the fucking time, we all know what this is. We know it, you know it, everybody fucking knows it. However, there's a lot of people that don't really use the internet as much, they don't do this kind of stuff, and they don't really understand that it's bad. And I think those are the people you really need to reach with this kind of stuff. Because the moment that, you know, like, you know, I don't know, like Sandra and Pam at their fucking, you know, their church revival group get wind of this, they're gonna start calling their senator. And that's what the problem is. Is that like they don't even know really what TikTok is. It's crazy. Someone on DK Fresh today? I'm probably gonna do DK Fresh, but I want to watch a couple of other things as well. Huge issue with online interactions. People think there's somehow a different dimension that has nothing to do with real life. I think that online and real life have definitely, there's been a convergence. It's not like, you guys remember back in like 2006 to, I'd say like from the early internet to, I would say like there's been like different like levels of the internet, right? I would say the internet from 2004 was like a completely different existence. And then from 2004 to like 2008 to 9 to 10 to 11, somewhere around there, it was like kind of like an alternate version of you. And like now, who you are on the internet is kind of pretty much who you are in real life. I would say in many cases. So I think that it's unfair to categorize what happens on the internet under the same level of kind of like not caring that you would back in like 2006. Because like you have people like, for example, you know, they're getting harassed in real life. They're getting harassed in real life on social media by people that they go to school with. So like, how is this really a different place whenever it's people that they know that are doing it?
That they use
do you agree the internet changed after COVID too? Yeah, I think it did. TikTok gets called out because it's China. They're all pervasive. I think that they are all pervasive, but I think that it's unfair to say that every single platform has this specific issue. Yes, and I feel like this whole video, the main thing that this video is talking about is like creeps online and groomers. Like that's really what this is. So it's not like really TikTok is fundamentally bad. It's this part of TikTok is fundamentally bad. And again, it's not impossible for TikTok to just say, you can't go live on our platform unless you provide age verification and ID in the same way that like any of the cam sites do. And I'm sorry, but I think that's probably what they should do. Because they clearly can't manage the amount of live content that they have. And I think that if you can't manage the amount of live content,
I don't even understand how you can go live.
and you're constantly, unknowingly, and let's be honest, knowingly posting child porn, then I don't think that you should be able to do that. Flat fucking out. It's not even a question. It's not, oh, well, they can't, they've got too many requests. Then shut it down. So this is Artesian Builds. Now, Artesian Builds is a
come on, can I once in my life put something with a chainsaw?
Made computers, and it is a thing. It's a combination of must investigative journalism and journalism conclusions on Artesian Builds and former CEO. We've heard ex-CEO No Cats is considered suing us for the story. We are proceeding with this video and nothing has
it's
been
not
removed.
possible to hit something.
Advocate for consumers.
This is the biggest scam we've ever covered.
Just focus on the fight, 621.
This is
I didn't dodge.
This ghost town of a warehouse is filled with
Because he knew he would kill me.
dozens of power supplies, video cards, locked
Chainsaw anybody in
and there's
this
several
game.
areas where it's as if it was frozen in time.
Just can't.
Build stations remain as in-progress work sites. Even the
Don't get
employees'
it.
drinks and lunch were left behind. And
what is it, the Rapture? Is this? It's like, bro, this show's the revelation. This is Thanos snap, yeah.
Bins remain partially unpacked from a team that was once excited to move into this brand new multi-million-dollar warehouse.
Dude, that
was customized
sucks.
for them. The computers you're seeing, those are still due to customers today, including some who are.
Bro, I saw this on Twitter. There was like a streamer that Artesian Builds had made a PC for him, and he saw his exact PC being fucking auctioned off on eBay or some shit.
Decals on the
Yeah,
gun.
right. I mean, I don't know which one it was. I didn't see what his name was, but I thought that was funny. The thing is, like, before anybody, like, it is funny to see the stupid shit, right? It's funny, but y'all got to keep in mind, there's a lot of people who lost their jobs over this that had nothing to do with any of the bullshit, and it sucks. Like, it fucking sucks for them.
Probably watching this video right now. We got inside of the foreclosed Artesian Builds offices in what turned out to be one of our biggest investigations yet.
Holy
as we try to unearth what went wrong for many of the customers who got screwed by Artesian Builds.
Oh my god.
This video is brought to you by us and store.gamertexas.net. This is our most in-depth investigative journalism piece yet, and to commemorate the death of Artesian and our deep dive, we're launching a new limited edition PC component skeletal shirt. This shirt is in our limited line of ultra shiny foil shirts, and we've only done a few shirts like this before. The new skeletal foil uses water cooling tubes complete with terminating fittings and three-way junction splits to form an accurate ribcage. This is a long.
So so this shirt can keep you cool in the summer with the water cooling.
All right.
That's great. I never had a shirt that could do that before. Wow.
Alongside individually sleeved cabling connecting to inductors and MOSFETs centrally. The heart is made out of a GN logo with a golden pump cap, bordering an RGB LED strip with extensive attention to detail along it. On the back, these super comfortable 100% cotton shirts run a voltage regulator module design down the spine with similar blue and silver foil to stand out. Our limited foil designs always sell out fast, and we will not make them again. So go to store.gamertexas.net to grab one today and help fund our next deep dive investigative journalism piece. Thank you for your support.
I'm always glad to see people advertising their own merch and their own stuff, right? I mean, it's like, it's good to take sponsors too, but it's always great to see people that are really kind of taking it into their own hands and selling their own stuff. That's good. It's hard to do that. It's a lot harder.
Hopefully I don't get arrested. I'm not doing anything wrong, but it's definitely not normal.
What are we watching?
Wow.
Oh my god. So they found out where it was. Present day post-collapse.
Artesian Builds went from being a robust, pre-built PC manufacturer with 2 locations and 60 to 70 employees doing $20 million a year in revenue to
That's a lot of
a
fucking
bankrupt
money.
warehouse with over $1 million of inventory still locked
20
up
mil?
and still owed to customers today. People who will never see the PCs they ordered and who will never get their RMA'd repair units that are stuck.
Yeah, let's just... The last mission I do anyways. Smashed. Oh wait, that's not the...
You don't want to fall into those lasers.
Oh, that's not the fight. I thought this was the... Be one fight.
Threat detected. Threat level 8. Defense phase 4.0. Terminating target.
Yeah, that's not ideal.
Snipers. Don't let them shoot you down.
I'm slow as fuck.
It's a step up from intruder.
No sign of the corporations. Looks like we're the first ones here.
I'm assuming I have to destroy all the MTs to get an S, because otherwise the mission would be pretty short.
Trace around the outside, 621. There must be a way in. Find the pressure chamber, 621. Destroy it.
I don't see the level design in this level at all. That's not very, very fun software. You can just like hit everything.
The threat has entered the reactor. Defense phase 4.5.
Fight back, Raven.
Oh, I don't. Oh, I thought I had the shield.
To keep that laser barrier going. The PCA wanted this place locked down no matter what.
Defense weapon destroyed.
I'm so slow. Holy shit, am I slow.
There, 621. Destroy the target. Pressure chamber destroyed.
It's like I don't even have to boost on. Am I faster walking?
The partition.
Oh.
Defense program phase 5.0. Pattern C. Terminating red.
No vital signs. There's no pilot.
That's Institute Tech. 621, there's no time. Get rid of it.
Meltdown in progress. Calculating time until core explosion. Raven, there's only 2 minutes left.
Upgrading to threat level 9. Terminating.
AP at 50%.
Oh, really?
30%.
Threat
Did you get it?
Raven, release the partitions.
Which side? Oh, damn.
job to do, 621. Don't fail me now.
I'm so slow.
Raven, you have to get clear.
It's gonna blow. Brace for impact.
I can't live like this. I need different boost.
That was a close one.
I expected a bigger explosion, but okay. Oh, that's... Yeah, that's totally not okay. Quick boost trust. Well, that's not ideal. But at least I can fly faster, yes. I'm not quick boosting that much anyway with this build, so. Does my melee even consume energy? I don't move when I use it. Doesn't consume energy. I think that's okay. I don't know. Am I really faster? I didn't get this charge melee attack. But it hits only behind him. So I have to be exact. What? Didn't do any damage?
50%.
500 damage? What the hell? Okay, never use the charge bomb on this. Okay, I see.
AP at 30%.
Weird weapon. Weird hitbox. Okay. But I like it. It's a whip.